Right, nice to see everybody. My name's Charlie Williams, and I'll be the panel moderator for our honored guest this morning, the first panel of the 10th year of Sinister Creature Con. You know, I'm often disappointed when I go see a reimagining of a classic horror film. But this was not the case with the 2021 direct sequel to the original Candyman. The film was directed by the brilliant young director Nia DaCosta. At the heart of the film is the latest member of the Candyman hive, Sherman Fields. Our first panel guest is the award-winning actor whose portrayal of that character blended pathos with menace and left an indelible mark on the franchise. But I think I need some help in order to bring our guest to the stage. So I am going to ask my sacrificial lamb, my grandson, to do something to bring our guest to the panel. Xander, you're on.
Candyman, 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 Candyman.
Is that me? That's you, Michael Hargrove. Let's give it up for Michael Hargrove. Michael, so nice to see you.
Same, man.
Thank you for being here.
Sure, no problem.
What I'd like to start off with is I'm always fascinated by the paths that we take to arrive at our destinations, and by that I mean our life destinations. So what was the path that led you from Birmingham, Alabama to Chicago, Illinois?
How long was this? Okay, first
That
of all,
could be my first and only question.
I went to a fine arts school, high school in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama School of Fine Arts. It is a great institution. A lot of gifted people came out of that school, which you can research, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And from there, I pretty much tried to make a career in Birmingham, just doing theater, community theater, children's theater, and all that stuff. I had an extensive background in stage combat. So I got hired, luckily, by a choreographer in Berkeley who wanted to hire me for an event that they were going to try to do at the Berkeley Rep, which was sword fighting and all that stuff. I ended up going out there, worked on the show for about a couple of months. It didn't do as it should have done, as you know how it happens in theater. And I was stuck in Berkeley for a while, and I'm nothing to do, no money, no job. And I'm like, oh, what do I do? I'll go back to Birmingham. Luckily, a friend who was going to Chicago, interviewing for a job with DePaul University, said, you want to come with me? And I said, sure. Met up with a few friends from ASFA, Alabama School of Fine Arts, and we lived together for a while, and I got stuck in Chicago, did theater for many, many, many years, started doing commercial work, and then started doing film work, and it went from there.
Was there a particular person or an event that pointed you toward acting?
Yeah, it was the fact that my best friend was going to a fine arts school, and I had no skills whatsoever, and he was chosen to be in the music department, and I'm like, I wanted to follow him, and he's like, he's my best friend, what do I do? He said, hey, audition for theater. So I did, and surprisingly, they chose me. They said, sure, come on in. That was it. I wanted to be a football player, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. Didn't we all? Your work has primarily been on the stage, and most notably with Chicago's Pastime Theater.
National Pastime Theater, good. Defunct now, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I
member.
I didn't realize that.
It's fine. It's gone, long gone. Probably for about 12 years.
Oh,
12
gosh.
Years. Yeah.
Well, when you were there, you did everything from Shakespeare to Kafka to Ken Kesey.
Yeah.
How did your theater work help you prepare to play Sherman Fields in Candyman?
Oh, I think that's what got me the part, because I was at the audition and they were looking for some actors who were tall. So of course I walk in, and I told you this earlier when we met, I was the shortest actor there. So there was actors maybe 6'5", 6'7", 6'8", really, really tall guys. I wanted to say they were basketball players, but they were actually actors in Chicago. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to get this. And I think what happened, the reason I got it is because of my improv ability. I did a lot of improv in high school and after high school. I was in a comedy group for a while, no one knows. And we did some risque improv work, and I think that's what got me the role.
So did you actually use one of those routines then?
No,
for your
no,
audition,
no.
or?
Nia, who I didn't know at the time, was a director.
Oh.
It's kind of funny now. And they asked me to do certain things. I said, hey, okay, give you the situation. You get yourself out of that situation via improv.
Yeah.
And I think that's what worked. And because movement and so on for me was kind of like easy, more as the tall, lanky guys may have had a difficult chore with it.
Wow. Had you seen any of the other Candyman
Yeah, of
films
course.
before you accepted the role?
Yeah, I saw the best ones, yeah. Move
So
on.
which
Move
ones?
on. Move on.
Well, I can guess which ones
Yeah.
are the best ones.
Exactly.
What was the process like to create the makeup effects, the facial makeup, and also the prosthetic?
That was really, really, really none of my business. That was actually the makeup artist who worked with Jordan Peele and came up with the idea of the makeup and how it should look. And with that in mind, and the character of Sherman, it worked. It was more or less the first makeup idea. Didn't quite work as much, but it took about 2.5 hours to do that. It was a full face mask, but they kind of changed it once they decided to show Sherman more as a person than as a ghoul, and that ended up being less time. But I think, if anything, it was the makeup artists and people behind the camera that made it work.
Was it an uncomfortable experience to have the makeup applied?
The first version of that, yes, because it was hot, it was sweaty. It was a full latex mask. You still sweat, regardless of how it is. To say it's breathable, it's not. And from that standpoint, sweat would have to be peeled open and allowed to drip out. So the revision of the makeup was much easier. I could actually eat. The first makeup was, my face was so swollen. You won't find these anywhere. I have copies if you want to buy it. But it was, my mouth was pretty much beat closed from the beating, so just a little wet. So in order to eat, I had to pull the hood down, and the actresses that were in the show would sit next to me, and they had to move because it was so disgusting.
Well, speaking of disgusting,
Yeah.
with the prosthetic hook, okay, was there ever a time when it was awkward and you forgot you had it, started to pick your nose or
No,
scratch
there was never a prosthetic. It was all green screen.
Oh,
green
really?
Screen. I had a glove, and I just had to remember to keep my hand like this.
Oh, I'm completely
And they
surprised about that.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all this. So I couldn't do this.
Wow.
If I did that, they would actually make sure the hook is beyond my face.
Wow.
But it's more or less keep it away from your face and keep it more out and open.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Did you have an opportunity to meet Tony Todd
Yeah.
during the production?
No.
Oh,
Unfortunately
but you
not.
met him afterwards?
No, because
or-
Tony's schedule was shooting. Because my schedule was I get there like 5 in the morning and I get in makeup and I'm ready to shoot by 9 and nothing happens and I'm sitting there for the rest of the day until there's one scene where they want to shoot you and then you do that. If anyone knows anything about makeup and film, and it's a waiting project. It's like being in the military.
Right.
So from the standpoint as far as that, our schedules never crossed until we met at a convention. That was it.
That figures.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did he make any comment about your portrayal, or
No, he thought
did
it
you
was-
have any?
He had nothing negative to say about it.
Because
I mean,
he
was-
appears at the end of the film.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was fine with the rendition. Adaptation, I should say. But he was fine. Continuation. That's the word I want to use. because
Continuation.
Exactly.
It's a good
And
word.
he was happy with everything and how it was going. And miss him.
Yeah.
Never got to really hang out with him much.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah.
Talk about tall.
Yeah.
He was about 6'6", wasn't he?
He was 6'6". Yeah, he's a couple of inches shorter than me. I'm 6'4", so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nia DaCosta received a lot of critical love for her direction of the film. That's one of the first things I remember was that people responded to her direction.
Yeah, yeah.
What was your experience like working
Oh, it
with
was
her?
amazing. I still say it. She's an amazing director. Hey, Nia, she was an amazing director. I mean, she treated everyone fairly, and that's why she's doing what she is today. That's fair.
Was that her first film?
I don't think so. I think she did
Okay.
a couple of directing films before that, but
Okay.
I'm sure the internet will feed you
To-
some
will give
correct
me the
information,
correct
not me.
information,
But
right.
she was just in the scene when actors were on the set.
Yeah.
She had an idea, and you could see it working in her brain. I mean, obviously, being around a bunch of actors and who are not full of themselves. And,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've met those guys. You have fun, but you may have fun in joking periods with the director, and she's like, she's busy. And it's nothing against you. It's basically she's like thinking about this. She's watching the next segments of what's going to happen. You know, I see it in my mind's eye. I want you to see it too, and do it. And that's what I loved about it. I mean, I've worked with a couple of directors who are just assholes, and in which case she was just amazing for what she wanted to do and how she wanted the film to progress.
Yeah. Was she the kind of hands-on director
Yeah.
that guides you through
Not
almost
to the
every
point where it's
emotion?
like, go here, step there, walk there. She gives you the idea, it's in your brain, you do it, and if she likes what she has in her brain that you perceive to show her, she moves forward with it.
Yeah. We've talked a little bit about your background and your improvisation skills. What are the keys to effectively perform in what is basically a nonverbal role? Because that was like,
The mime part?
yeah, exactly.
You have to, how to say this? Who all are actors here? Anybody? Actors? No? Know anybody who's actors?
there's
Okay,
a
there we
couple.
go. You didn't want to admit it, right? Being an actor, you have to understand the character. They have to have I'm not going to be a method actor. Look it up. Some method actors are just like, you're wasting my time, dude. Just do the job. If the director doesn't like it, she'll move on or he'll move on with the next scene or give you an idea where you need to go with it. If you have an idea in your brain of who the character is, and if you have that idea, it shows throughout your body. Just to do this doesn't mean anything, but to do this means that you have an idea of the character. You know who you are, and you don't need words to show that. And it's kind of fun because background is like old films and all that. I grew up watching that, science fiction and all that stuff.
yeah.
And I did watch a lot of,
So are
the
you a
silent
horror-
movies.
Are you a horror film fan?
I am a horror film fan to the standpoint if it's a good film that I want to see, or if I know one of the actors in it, I'll watch it. But I'm more of a sci-fi buff.
Oh, okay.
And nothing against anybody who's horror, because I love horror too. You know, it has me here with you guys talking to you. But it's just important for the actor to understand who or she is.
Yeah.
And not just to say, oh, I'm supposed to move this bottle to here. Okay, where's my check? Doesn't work
Yeah.
that way. You have to have it in your brain
Right.
that you're going to be the actor, the character, and portray it to everyone
Sure.
else.
Sure. What, keeping that in mind, how would you compare working on the stage to working in a film like Candyman?
Honestly, I sometimes miss theater. I'm not doing a lot of theater. There's not a lot of theater in Atlanta. But it's not something that makes me want to pursue it again. And honestly, it's been so long, I would have to remember, oh, stage left, stage right, okay, which way? But it's kind of like riding a bike. You remember that. It snaps in the brain. But I think, if anything, doing film is a lot more fun, because if you screw up, luckily now, it's not like film to burn, it's digital. If you screw up, you redo it again and you get it right. Whereas if you're in theater, you've got one chance to do it right. And if you forget your line, you're got to depend on the other actors, or you're standing there wondering, what's my line? And that's something which is the nightmare of every actor that you come across.
And has that nightmare been a reality
Oh,
for
yeah.
you at times? It is for
Oh,
every
yeah.
actor, right?
The blank. It happens.
Sure.
It happens.
Sure. Well, one of the themes in the film is the gentrification of a poor urban area.
Yeah.
Is that an issue that personally resonated with you?
I worked as a property manager for many years while I was going off doing auditions for work jobs and so on and so forth, hiding it from my board of directors. And in which case, one of the things that actually touched home was the fact that I was the property manager for the Cabrini Green projects, the gentrification of
gosh.
that. Nothing. I'd been fired long before that.
Uh-huh.
Candyman came into view.
Wow.
But I worked in that, which a lot of people don't know about. I worked
Yeah.
within the complex that were being converted to single-family homes and market-rate homes.
Oh my gosh.
So it did touch me.
Yeah.
So the people around that you saw in the films, half of them I knew,
Oh my
because they
gosh.
came into my office because I was the manager.
Yeah.
I was the guy, which is something that
So you were saying a lot of the extras were actually people that lived
a
in
lot of the
those-
extras, they tried to use the people within the community.
Oh, wow.
But the majority of people that were in it were actors. That's how. But I knew the people who knew when they first shot the first Candyman.
Yeah.
They lived where I worked.
Wow.
So that was
Wow.
that kind of touched home a little bit.
I guess so.
But nothing to do with that. I've long since been fired. And after I was fired, my agent said, "Hey, you want to go in for this audition for this?" "Yeah, what do I got to lose? I'm not working." And it worked out.
Yeah, it sure did.
Karma.
Your character in the film is a real Candyman. He passes out candy to children.
Yeah.
How much of that candy did you actually end up
None
eating?
of it.
Okay.
I don't, man. I don't like sweets like that. It's one tooth was
imagine-
missing back here when I was a kid. No
I
more.
imagine they got
I like
pretty
more
nasty
natural
after
sweets.
shooting after a
Yeah,
while, too,
yeah. But
even
the
though they were
staff
wrapped
was
up.
like this, in which case it's like, he needs candy. Where's the candy? They had to buy bags of candy for it. But yeah. That's kind of. I grew up eating sugar cane. I grew up in the South, so
Oh,
the
wow.
candy to me was my aunt bringing home sugar cane and peel it and chew on it. That was the candy.
Yeah.
Honey was some sort of a thing. We did do Halloween, whatever, and I got sick from eating the candy and all that stuff. But I tried to stay away from it.
Your character has a distinctive look and a distinctive expressions. Did you work on that, like in the mirror, and try to get just that?
No, I don't like looking at
exact-
myself in the mirror except to shave and to comb my hair, to be
Okay.
honest. And actors don't like to look at themselves, and if they do, they're vain. I just tried to just pursue the character Sherman in my brain and basically did it
And
that
just
way.
let whatever came out.
Yeah, looking in the mirror is
be
a
the-
form of being a method actor.
Sure. Once you appear in a horror franchise like Candyman,
Mhm.
you become ingrained in the lore of the films. Are you surprised by the kind of notoriety that this kind of role brings?
Yeah. I didn't think it'd be a big deal. It was a paycheck. Be honest, it was a paycheck. It was like I move on because I'm an actor. I mean, yes, I'll do a horror film. Actually, I have an upcoming film which I can't talk about yet, but it's in the works. And in which case, I'll do that, and then I'll go on and I'll be a janitor who walks in and says the elevators are out. That's hey, it's working. I'm working as an actor. I mean, it hasn't catapulted my career to the point where mega bucks coming in and I own 40 cars and 10 homes.
Yeah.
And but it's. You just say that like, yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Appreciate your. But it is something that has helped my career.
Yeah, I think it was like Laurence Olivier that said that, what do? You work as an actor, and if
Yeah.
a job comes along, you take it, What was it like, this speaks to your theatrical past. What was it like to be honored with the Black Theatre Alliance's Sidney Poitier Award? 2002 for you were the best leading actor in a play for your role in Will He Bop, Will He Drop?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that, the background there?
God, that show nearly killed me. I was basically, as a one-man show in essence, that I was basically from on stage from point A to point B, the end. There were other characters that came in, but they were just superficial to help the character along, Willie get to the point where he was. And I didn't expect anything to come of it because I thought it was just, you know, it's a role I did. It was, I was a company member, and a writer came up and said, "Hey, can you do this for me?" And I said, "Sure." And I was chosen to be that character by the writer to do it. It was, think about it now, because you're not the first to ask me that today, is that it wasn't a big deal to me, but now that I think about it, it is a big deal. It was a big deal. I mean, it was never, I've never won an award like that, and I never thought I would. I just think I'd go from character to character and just, you know, be the supporting character and be done with it and move on. But winning it at the time was, I guess, it was
like validation.
It was, yeah, validation. It was also just surreal. I mean, I got up on stage and I had no script of like who to thank. I was supposed to thank my wife, but I forgot about it. Never forget that. And it just went from there. And I remember walking off stage and getting the award and saying, "Hey, this is cool," and looking at it, and I put it on the shelf. And then I found it, you know, we were moving, and I found it. I was like, "Hey, no, okay." I thought, "Yeah, that's cool," and put it there. But to find out that it's a big deal now is something that, you know, it's kind of awing.
Well, see, I'm old enough to remember Sidney Poitier as the gifted actor he was, but probably the first black actor who took on roles that were more human. I don't want to say this correctly, but real life kind of roles.
But remember the
life.
time that he actually was an actor, 60s. That's the 50s and 60s. That's, you wanted to see that. You wanted to see more slice of life of black characters. You wanted more black people. First thing I did, getting into going full circle into Alabama School of Fine Arts, auditioned to stay with my best friend. I did, never done this in my life. All I had to do was just memorize something and get in. And so I chose, believe it or not, Gettysburg Address and a scene from A Raisin in the Sun.
Oh, gosh.
So that was, you know, full circle.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing that sometimes bothers me about fame is it's so fleeting. So I just think that unless you're a student of film, you don't remember who Sidney Poitier was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
I mean,
most people don't.
Younger
kids may
culture.
not. Yeah.
Whereas I think in my generation, almost everybody knew who he was.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the sad things about fame, I think, sometimes.
Unfortunately. Until someone rediscovers him on some Saturday afternoon, whatever.
Yeah.
Made for TV, something.
And the nice thing is people will continue to discover him.
Yeah.
The LGBTQ community has a large presence in the world of horror. Tell us about your experience in making the award-winning fantasy film, Were the World Mine?
That was cool. That was the first indie film I ever did that I actually got paid for.
Okay.
And that was, in case you haven't seen that, I played a dad who was dealing with a son who was being beguiled by some cosmic force that was making him gay. And, you know, that sort of thing. And I was the stern father who, no, will not accept it. I'll beat it out of you. Sorry. But that was fun doing it. It was fun doing the film. Yeah. I never thought it would be as big as it is.
No, it's
that's
I
like
a lot of attention was paid to that.
Oh yeah,
to that film.
Still getting residuals.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
They're $2 and $3 and $4.
Well, okay. You recently starred in another horror film that has gathered some critical acclaim from festivals and reviewers, titled "What Happened to Dorothy Bell?"
What Happened to Dorothy Bell? Look it up, guys, if you haven't seen that. It's not out yet, but it's due to be streaming shortly. That film has taken off, and I did it as a favor to someone who came up to me after one of the conventions and said, "Hey, would you like to be in one of my films?" I said, sure, let's talk. And I looked him up. I saw his films that he did previously, and I said, "Oh, this guy's good as a director and a writer. It's good." And I did it, and from that point, I figured it would just go casually into the night and be shown at certain events and that sort of thing, certain theaters. It got big, and in that film, I play another dad. That's my role now, and my daughter is being possessed by the grandmother and killing people, and so the action of the horror is from her. And I like the fact that I'm just supporting because Aisha, who's the star of the film, she is amazing.
Wow.
And from that standpoint, I think it's her brilliance that catapulted the film into where it is now. It's actually going to be possibly shown at the Cannes Film Festival. We'll see. And if I can get some money today, I can go see it. I have a little bucket at my table.
Do you hear that, everybody? Go by Michael's table.
Oh, just kidding.
The director was Danny Villanueva Jr.
Yep.
And I've read that he actually cast you because he saw you in Candyman.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how you got the role.
Yeah.
What is it like working on a micro-budget film like that? Because I imagine Candyman's budget was much greater than that one.
It was massive to the point where they may have overspent what they wanted to, but still got the proceeds back. Honestly, nothing. I'm an actor. That's how it is.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, if someone called me and said, hey, from Paramount, and said, hey, we want you to do this, would you be willing to do this? You think I'm going to say no?
Right.
No. Yeah, sure. If someone contacted me with a script that actually is good, and you like it, like Bitter Souls, I don't know if you know, that was fun. And I thought, I get to pay a Jamaican voodoo priest. Yeah, sure, I'll do it. There's no money involved in that. It's basically you get a little bit to pay your next mortgage, and you get a flight there and a hotel room. Usually it's a nice hotel room, but it's not something that I'm not looking at say, hey, I don't do it for less than $400,000. Hey, not there yet, don't want to be. But micro budget films are fine. Yeah. Especially if the director and the producers and the actors are good and you've got an idea of where you want to go with it. And that's the most important thing. If the director doesn't have an idea where they want to go with the film, then it sucks and you feel horrible and you wish it would end. But all the ones I've done have been to the point where they actually have an idea and it worked, I think.
And so much of the innovation in film comes from independent film.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, horror film is a great example of that. Horror films.
Yeah, I mean, there's huge actors who are slumming it, say that because basically that's what they say, doing independent work, and that's sad because it's work. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and they're brilliant people that are
exactly
creating those projects.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to stop at this point and ask if there are any, I'm not letting you go yet. I'm going to ask if we have any questions in the audience for Michael.
Anybody? Come on, speak up, your chance.
We've got Jim
Never
over
have
there
it
with the
again.
microphone. Get your chance to get on the
There's the young lady there.
panel there.
Hello.
I was wondering if you or Nia DaCosta had like a specific idea of who Sherman was before the events of Candyman.
No. She left it up to me to come up with the idea of who Sherman was. I mean, Sherman came across once you put the makeup on. I mean, any actor knows this. Once you put the makeup on, once you're in the set and around people, and the character comes to life, and that's what happened. I think it all snapped when I'm in the first scene that you may see me in, when I'm coming out of the wall, that sort of thing. That's when it all snapped of who Sherman is and what Sherman's role in the film is going to be.
Do we have any other questions?
Come on, guys, speak up. Come on. Come on, it's your chance. Or you're just waiting for Sean.
Here we go. Here's one.
It's up, man.
I thought I just read an article or saw a headline where the scene with the bees, that you had to get an extra incentive to work with the bees. Can you tell us about that?
I'm going to be blunt and say, unfortunately, that was not me. That was Tony Todd. And you're talking about the original Candyman, who is now passed on. If I could tell you his view of that, I think that was the case, that he did get an incentive to be around the bees. And for any bees that he got stung, he got money for it. So he did get a lot.
That's true.
Yeah, every time he got stung, he got some funds for that.
Absolutely.
There was no fees in this film except for my a computer-generated bee that bites Anthony on the arm and he drops it. That was it. And the bees that came out, the swarming Tony at the end.
Sure.
That was it.
Any other questions? There we go.
Yeah.
Our friend Christian.
What is he going to ask? What, you know?
We know Christian very well. And he's a
Should I answer
regular
his question or
attendee.
just ignore him?
Let's see. Let's hear it
Sure.
first, and then we'll decide whether we ignore it or
Well,
not.
I think that you guys, what do you think? Should I answer his question or?
Yeah.
All right, just.
Oh, it's about prequel. I mean, I know. There's been a lot of backstory with the current Candyman movie, but I want to see kind of a prequel to your character in a lot of
Paul
ways.
MGM, Gordon Few.
Yeah. So I was wondering if you knew anything
you're
about
not
that.
You're not the first to say that, and there isn't anything that I
Yeah.
understand unless an independent filmmaker gets the rights to do that. I would like to see that, but it'd be
Okay.
it wouldn't be a horror film though.
Yeah.
It would be more of a slice of life of
that's
who
true.
Sherman is. I would like to see that too, because I'm an actor and want to work, but I don't think it would work as a horror film, definitely.
Right.
But if you guys are willing to follow me over into the slice of life, Lifetime TV bull. Sorry.
Well, God bless you, man.
Sorry, but yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed the movie a lot, and I enjoy your acting in
Thanks,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Do you think that character could appear in like another sequel to the film without the backstory? I mean, just to make an appearance?
I think Candyman could, without, I mean, as appearing as Candyman.
As
he
one of
could,
the Candyman
yeah,
hive.
as one of the Candymen. Yeah, definitely.
yeah. Well, I want to take this opportunity to thank Michael
Thanks, guys.
Hargrove for his fantastic insights and his brilliant performances on stage and in film. And we're so happy to have you at the 10th
Unfortunately,
anniversary
none of
of
those stage
Sinister.
things I did are in video. You can't
Oh,
find
well,
them.
that is
They're
a shame.
gone.
But the people that saw them remember them.
So I could lie.
Thank you so much,
Thanks, guys.
Michael.